Hello, Flemington-Raritan Regional School District families, community members, faculty, staff, parents. Happy fall. Today is our last day in October, and I'm sharing with our community members a Minute with McGann. This is another way that I share information with community members and our parents about things that have been happening in our schools and on campus over the past month. So for October, we've been in school 38 days with students already, and it was a wonderful start in September. October brings lots of excitement as the fall leaves begin to change and the temperatures are a little cooler, and our students have learned their routines all about the school and classroom and have fit into exactly what's happening with our schools. In our Board of Education, we've had some very important presentations during the month of October. Members of our community can visit on our website Mr. Bland's, the assistant superintendent, his report on our violence and vandalism. We've also had a report on our student achievement and the results from COVID-19 pandemic and witnessed the learning loss of our students. We are just beginning to work on our budget process here, where we're focusing our budget on recovering student learning loss and student achievement. You'll be hearing more information about building principals about what specific schools are doing to support students and recovering from learning loss. We've also had a talk-a-latte this month for the superintendent. A talk-a-latte is the way that I gather with parents, and we've got different items that happen. So we had September's at Barley Sheep where we focused on security, and we just had October's at JP Case where we focused on our health and physical education comprehensive standards. You'll see at the bottom of October's newsletter the presentation that Mr. Bland, Dr. Cook, and I shared with about 50 parents that night, helping parents to take a breath and feel like it's okay, that what we're doing here in Flemington-Raritan is making sure that we are responsive to what needs to happen in the home as far as conversations, as well as what is appropriate to happen in schools. So please let us know if you have any questions. Use the presentation that's on the October newsletter to gain a level of understanding about what the state requires and what Flemington-Raritan is doing to support knowledge for kids. Next, I'll share with you that we had a superintendent lunch bunch this month. So I met with Copper Hill students this month. It's Dr. McGann's lunch bunch. I had about 10 students that came and had lunch with me at Copper Hill. And the students, when they arrive, they each get a card that says, what do you enjoy about your school? What does it say? What would make your school better? Sorry, it's hard to read backwards and upside down. And then on the back, it says, is there anything else you would like to share with me about your life as a student? So I collect these from students, except for my kindergarten students and sometimes my first grade, depending on what time of year I meet with them. But this happened to be students that were able to share with me and write their thoughts down. And I just like to share a couple of those with you from Copper Hill. So a couple of students, when I asked them, what do you enjoy about your school? One of them wrote, all of our students here are kind and caring, and I also have amazing teachers. Loved that one. Another student wrote, when I asked, what do you enjoy about school? This student wrote, it is fun and I love the clubs. This particular student wrote, what would make your school better? They said more clubs. Another student wrote, when I asked, what do you enjoy about school? She wrote, how the teachers are so nice and the kids. This student wrote, I enjoy my school because it is really pretty inside and clean. So just gives you an understanding about what some of the things that students and I talked about. At that particular lunch at Copper Hill, we also talked about inflation and what was happening with the rising prices. And that came up because students were talking about gasoline prices and food at the grocery store, and the conversation rolled through what do they like to buy at the grocery store, and it costs a lot of money. So it's interesting, and part of my very favorite things is to have lunch with students. The next one's at Reading Fleming Intermediate School, and that's coming up in about 6 or 7 weeks. So a couple of highlights from the district. You heard what's happening curriculum-wise. You heard about our goals and how we're focusing on student achievement. You heard about the superintendent's lunch bunch. And last, I'd like to say that this week, at the end of the week, is a very important time. We're gathering together for strategic planning. I have 28 members of the community. My thanks to them for giving up their Friday night to have dinner with me and spend some time talking about Flemington-Raritan in the next 5 years and what we want for our schools. We're spending Friday night together and most of the day on Saturday developing our plans for our 5-year plan. It's called strategic planning. So my thanks to community members that are joining me and members of my team, and we're being led by New Jersey school boards to develop our plan. So a minute with McGann. This is October. My best to families in your fall festivities, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of November, and I'll speak to everybody again at the end of November.